Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator, actively alienating everyone, in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. The biggest fall event for the Shumia family was the family conference in October. But to Jessica, there was another major event that came before that, the school cultural festival. Jessica liked school. To her, it was a place where she could let out the stress she had built up from the rigid lifestyle she was supposed to lead. For today's cultural festival, she had formed a group with her friends and had announced that they'd perform some light music contemporary stage. She had prepared and practiced for this over and over until today, always anxiously awaiting the state's arrival. But there was one thing that worried her. She looked at the clock. There was still a little time, but she felt uneasy. Would that person come? After taking a single deep breath, her heart jumped while her friends suddenly stood and speaking in shrill voices. No way, Hina's boyfriend, so awesome, isn't he? Friend's boyfriend's really smart, is it true? That guy's glasses beast. No way, my husband will be a pretty boy, give me It may not be like this for rules, but at least Jessica's school cultural festival was basically a boyfriend exhibition. Jessica didn't have a boyfriend. She had many friends of the opposite sex, but no one special. Only one. But Jessica was a little famous around the school, and everyone thought it'd be natural for her to have a fitting partner. Furthermore, pride had led her to pretend that this was true. She had somehow managed to keep them fooled until this year, but for various reasons, she hadn't been able to escape this year's cultural festival. Jessie, is your boyfriend here? What? No, looks like he's not here yet. Maybe he's busy with work. So what kind of person is he, Jessie? Let's give us a hint. What kind of relationship? Awesome. So he's working then. When he come in a suit, of course, he will wear glasses, right? Yeah. Hey, he actually does exist, right? If you come clean now, he'll let you join us. Let's cry together through this year's cultural festival. No, he exists. I told you he really exists. Ha ha ha. Jessica's bitter smile was covered in cold sweat. It was starting to seem doubtful whether she really had deceived her sharp-witted friends. Okay, then how about making a fake boyfriend and taking him with you? Fake? Who? I can't think of anyone who'd do that. Shannon's ridiculous plan surprised Jessica into hysterics. Even so, it was probably more realistic than the crazy methods running through her head about getting a boyfriend in the big rush before the cultural festival. For example, what about Cannon Coon? Cannon Coon? No way. Anyway, I'm sure Cannon Coon has work on the day of the festival, and I don't want to bother him. Of course, I've already checked the schedule. Cannon Coon has that day off. Oh, why are you always so clever when it comes to stuff like this? No, wait. It'd be even worse if he's off. I can't pull him away from a precious day off just for my own vanity. If you don't pull Cannon-kun away, he'll always be shut away by himself. So I think it'd be perfect if you could drag him out of his shell. You think so? What do you guys think about... How would you describe the expression that Jessica's making at the moment? If I wouldn't say any better... Do you guys think Jessica might actually like Cannon? That maybe he might actually be her type? No, but I'd feel so bad for him. Then I guess you're out of options. How about meekly confessing to everyone that you don't have a boyfriend? True, it may be terribly embarrassing, but you'd only have to endure it for the short yet long time before graduation. To a pair of lovers, there's no sweeter honey than the face of a single person with an inferiority complex. Shannon, you aren't really worrying for my sake, are you? You're teasing me, right? Jessica wrestled about with Shannon, her eyes teary, but Shannon was unfazed, laughing with her usual smile. Yes, this is to get you back for making fun of me and George-sama all the time, and listening to Shannon's comeback, the likes of which didn't happen every once a year, even once a year. Jessica hugged her cushion and rolled around on her bed, pretending to faint in agony. She couldn't stand Shannon's smile, which looked so triumphant. But right now, she was the only person Jessica could talk with. She could choke her to death with her cushion later. Is it really so bad, my lady? Is that foreshadowing? It's a cultural festival, but it's also a chance for you to have fun with Cannon-kun. Again, do you guys say Hinamizawa or Hinamizawa? I feel like imagine a version of this game where it's the Hinamizawa, the Hinamizawa syndrome was a thing. No, that may be true, but no. Jessica buried her head in the favorite pillow to hide the fact that her face had grown bright red, and she grumpily chewed the fingernail on her thumb. It really was a reaction to be appreciated. Shannon and Jessica were about the same age, of the same sex, and friends, and they were both right in the middle of puberty. They could never talk enough about love. That's why they could freely talk about these topics to each other. So Jessica heard a lot about how Shannon and George's love was progressing. And Shannon heard a lot about what type Jessica liked, what kind of man she might be interested in. Judging by Jessica's reaction, it'd probably be rude for us to go into precisely what these things were. However, this story won't get anywhere if we just have Jessica rolling around further, so let's dive in. Jessica had been thinking about Cannon ever since he'd shown up. It was extremely rare for young men to visit Rokujima, so maybe it was natural for Jessica growing up puberty to develop an interest in Cannon. But if anyone said that, it would destroy the romantic ideals of pure heart and love at first sight. Shannon had been with Cannon for a long time at the orphanage, so she had known him since before they started working. So Jessica had asked persistently about what his hobbies were, what his favorite food was, and what type of girl he liked. Even to Shannon, it was clear that Jessica was infatuated with Cannon. Come on, isn't this a good chance to take Cannon-kun on a date? But Cannon-kun might also have someone he likes, so... Wouldn't he take it badly if I made him go with me just to show off? People who aren't honest with themselves like you are. What was the word I learned from George-sama? That's right, I think it was Sundora. Sundere? Apparently they'll be all the rage in a decade or so. Wow, George Nissan sure is incredible. Managing to foresee future trends like that. Awesome. No, wait. Are you saying I'm living in the wrong decade? Whoa, I give up. Wow. It took several days of wasted efforts, but in the end, Jessica agreed to the plan of having Cannon pretend to be her boyfriend. I really should have looked at the alternate art style for that face. It's just... what can I say? I had an appreciation for the picture. Yes, my lady. Pretty sure Cannon's also autistic. Did you call me? Jessica regretted calling out at such a bad time. Cannon always looked solid, but he had some bad days and some better days. Unfortunately, this reaction was the former. No, ellipses. All that confidence and effort she'd built up practicing in front of the mirror all night was wiped out in about 5 seconds. Jessica turned bright red and hung her head. When he saw that cat inside, Jessica thought that he was exasperating with her, and her face went pale. I heard from Shannon. This is about having me go with you to the school cultural festival, right, my lady? Huh? Nice one, Shannon. I mean, yeah? Yeah. Hey, we got a chance to... okay, I like that too. So in both art styles, I like the expression. It's adorable. I think they make a great couple. That's right, but did you have any plans that day? I was strictly ordered by Shannon to work specially for you on that day, my lady. I have never been to high school, so I don't really understand. But I hear it's a place where girls can be shamed if they don't have a boy with them. And I was given special orders to see to it that the daughter of the Ushiromi family is in no way inferior to the common people. Wah, Shannon, I'll beat you to death later. Jessica kept yelling with a strange voice and a broken smile like a teacup filled with boiling water. As Cannon watched this, he sighed again. Cannon wasn't an idiot either. Again, do you guys say either or either? He fully understood what Jessica intended by inviting him. But to be honest, playing along with Jessica's love game seemed like it'd be nothing more than an annoyance to him. However, Shannon had asked him over and over. He was deeply indebted to her, so he couldn't refuse. And that brooch was in his pocket. Could this strange turn of events have been brought about by the magic power residing in this brooch? Ridiculous. But he remembered what Shannon had said to him that day. Could Shannon see something he couldn't? I don't understand Shannon's feelings. We are furniture. As if we could ever become anything more. It was a truly odd exchange between Jessica, who was still rambling on in a strange voice, and Cannon, who sighed deeply because... yeah. You know, he could probably use a hug. I could probably think of someone else who could use a hug. Jesse, someone's here. Didn't you hear? Sorry. Who is it? As my friends all gathered together, they were looking this way with hard-to-describe expressions, whispering to each other in small voices that weren't small anymore. My attempt to play dumb felt pretty transparent than me. Did I really just say sorry? Who is it? Like I don't know who just showed up. It's useless. It's useless. My mind's going blank. No way, that's Jesse's boyfriend? He's so cute. Wait, he's real? No way, serious Jessica, you traitor. He's incredible, he's younger. I never heard he was younger. Well, where's Jesse's boyfriend? She's really into little kids. Okay, guys, he's not that short. That being said, looking spiffy there, man. I know I've said that about every outfit everyone's worn in this game. And I know most of these people are like, rich, or at least people that work for rich people, who were then provided clothes by said rich people, but just saying, everyone's outfits look really nice. Hey, aren't you a little late? I didn't know where the entrance was. I must apologize for my tardiness. Right, that outfit looks really good on you. Oh, that it does. Both of your outfits look good on both of you. I would date both of these people. Shannon said normal clothes wouldn't do, so we went and bought this the other day. Does it look strange on me? It looks great. You look great, Cannon. Yeah, outfit looks great, man. Well, that's not true. Shannon, when I get back, I'll promote you 2 levels. It feels like everyone here is a girl. It's uncomfortable. Yeah, it isn't it? Come on, let's not hang around here. Let's go to the stage, okay? Because I'll be up pretty soon. Come on, come on, come on. Jessica seemed just as uncomfortable. It looked like being bathed, and everyone's interested gazes was hard on her. When he saw Jessica's appearance, Cannon thought he might have made things difficult for her by coming. I get the feeling I'm getting in the way. Am I being a burden? I told you, no way. Please, tell me at any time if I start getting in the way. Kya, no way, he calls himself Boku. There's no way you'd get in the way. Cannon-kun. Kya, she calls her boyfriend Kun. What would you like me to do, milady? No way, she makes him call her milady? Like a butler, oh my OMG, OMG. No, you can't call me milady today. Is that so? As you wish, Jessica-sama. Kya, she's trained him to call her Sama. Sorry, Cannon-kun. Could you close your eyes for just 3 seconds? A kiss, she's gonna kiss him. As you wish. Beat the crap out of all the other girls. Bang, bang, thunk. Bam, bam, slam. Crash. By the time Cannon opened his eyes, a horrible tragedy occurred. Everyone had been driven to the walls, their arms and legs outstretched. Jessica had slipped her brass knuckles back into her pocket before Cannon's eyes opened. Anyway, let's go over this. I don't know if that just bypasses just straight up assault and battery to attempted murder at that point with a lethal weapon. I mean, you turned everyone into a wall ornament. Anyway, let's go over to the stage. Our turn's coming up, so take a seat and wait for a bit. Because we've got to get ready. Go straight to the end here, and you'll see a temporary stage. You'll know where to go. Please, wait there. She pushed Cannon's back as he seemed to be having trouble moving himself, and chased him out. Even though Cannon was confused by Jessica's attitude and her panicky state, which he had never seen before, he followed her instructions and headed in the direction she had indicated. After seeing him off with an awkward smile, Jessica slammed the door shut and yelled loudly. There you go, you saw, right? You saw that. Are you happy now? Wah! Sucks for you. Oh, I lost the bet. I was sure Jessie didn't have a boyfriend. Are you sure that was her boyfriend? I bet he's just abusing one of her servants, right? Wow, Jessie's boyfriend's incredible. Shut up. Come on, let's get ready. When Jessica took the brass knuckles out of her pocket again, everyone energetically returned to their tasks. Cannon went down the corridor Jessica had shown him and ran into a temporary stage set up where the vending machines should have been. It was probably being rented by the hour by some group or club. The ones singing were student groups. but the crowd was still incredibly excited, disliking the clatter. He leaned against a wall in the darkness by himself. So this is what they call high school. It sure is noisy. That's what Cannon thought. Then he remembered Jessica just now, acting in a way that he had never seen before. Honestly, she was in such high spirits that alcohol might have been involved. To him, remaining composed and intellectual at all times was the highest virtue. In that sense, it was very hard for Cannon to get used to the atmosphere of a school cultural festival. He had a responsibility to report everything he saw and heard to the master. So, he also had to report about how Jessica had acted without restraint earlier. At the very least, it was not fitting for the daughter that Ushirobe had family. The master Kraus-sama, and especially Natsuine-sama, will probably be angry. If I am reported in a way that protects my lady, should I blame it on inappropriate school friends? What was all that? So stupid. Cannon thought back on how Jessica had acted inside again. He could understand Natsue's headache a little now. Come to think of it, Natsue-sama, as the president of the PTA, was supposed to go on an informal gather after attending the ceremony in gymnasium. She said she wouldn't be able to see the lady's performance, didn't she? That's probably for the best. Crowds certainly are unpleasant. What in the world is going on? Several female students keep glancing at me. It seems they're all whispering the same things my lady's school friend said, and it's truly unpleasant. Come to think of it, didn't Shannon warn me? If you walk alone at something like a school festival, you'd better watch out because lots of strange people will come and talk to you. Excuse me, are you by yourself? Just as expected, a group of girls I'd never met started talking to me. Their stares started to make my back tingle. And then that just reminds me of the Dragon Ball Super thing. Like, oh, your back becomes tingly, you become a Super Saiyan. Didn't she tell me some magic words that could chase them off in times like this? Sorry. I'm with someone. Oh, really? I'm sorry. Ah, it worked. Instant reaction. Well, that got rid of them. But it hasn't really changed the number of people staring at me. No, it's that kid. That's just his boyfriend. No way, it's that kid. I can't believe it. I was sure he was fake. Isn't he cute? I didn't get to read that because I clicked the button. I'm trying. Can I pull up the log? Isn't he cute? So he's younger. Lucky Jesse. Oh, we got a full profile. If I can click. Looks awesome. There's no way I'll ever come to a place like this again. Cannon sighed for about the zillionth time that day. When he did, the lighting changed, and the standing audience started cheering. He looked around and realized that there was suddenly a large group of people there. And unlike earlier, they were mostly guys. With this huge crowd, he couldn't even see the stage. Fortunately, there was a fallen beer case nearby, so he tried using that as a footstool. When he did, he realized that there was a new group on the stage. Their leader is Milady. She's changed into stage clothes, and she's even holding a guitar. I didn't know she could play. Then again, maybe she can play. I've seen her practicing air guitar before. Natsue-sama wouldn't approve of any hobbies outside of study. Maybe she was always practicing in secret. Come to think of it, she's been returning really late from school recently, hasn't she? Maybe she's been practicing at school far away from Natsue-sama's prying eyes. It really is for the best that Natsue-sama didn't come. If Milady were to get scolded by Natsue-sama after putting so many hours of practice in, she'd probably be dejected. Jessie-sama! Everyone, thanks for gathering here today. I could hear Jessica-sama's forceful voice through the speakers. Jessie-sama? Maybe that's her nickname at school. The students in the audience kept calling out that name. I actually know they just heard you say that, so now they're saying it to tease her. Albeit, it's actually a pleasant form of teasing, that is. I think it's meant in good nature. I'm a little offended by the coup. It's inappropriate for my lady. Jessica-sama was in high spirits as they kept shouting Jessie-sama. Everyone here was probably a fan. Her mic performance picked up on that and electrified them even more. It was almost like a music program on TV. At first he thought this was all a little silly, but that feeling had changed into appreciation. It was incredible in its own way. Ken had never listened to music of his own free will, but he'd often heard the kind of music that Ushiromiya family liked. Since it was almost all classical, Ken had naturally taken a liking to that kind of music. So to Ken, the song Jessica sang was, how should you say it? Extremely colorful. In any case, at Natsu's host, she'd probably faint. Okay? Okay, I liked both that artwork. I guess Jessica was in some sort of cosplay, and I like the music. It definitely reminds me of the Denpa genre. But everyone looked like they were having a really good time. Some die-hard fans who had even brought pin lights. But yeah, I liked the music. Sang along and danced crazily with the same movements, almost as though it had been planned ahead. On the stage, Jessica-sama also sang enthusiastically, dripping with sweat. He couldn't find a single element that was appropriate for the daughter of the Ushiromiya family, but it looked like so much fun. Jessie-sama, Jessie, Jessie. Again today, behind me the sounds of footsteps. Oyoshiro-sama is stalking me. Curses, disappearances, sacrifice, torture. Onikakushi. Does that make a good snack? Don't say Marisa. I must not go along with it, but at any rate, Milady is full of life and looks like she's having a great time. As I watched Milady enjoying herself, I thought, could this be Ushiromiya Jessica's true nature? Don't I know better than anyone that during her life in Wakajima she had no choice but to kill him since herself. So the time she spends not as my lady, successor to the Ushiromiya family, but as a single girl called Jessica living life to the fullest must be very important to her. I've worked close to Milady, seeing her in all the seasons, and thought I knew everything about her. But that was all limited to one side of her, the Milady of Rockenjima. Rockenjima! We are furniture. We serve in Rockenjima and end our lives on Rockenjima. So I've come to think of Rockenjima itself as a whole world, as though, like in Ptolemaic theory, the ocean spilled off the end of the world into an abyss. But when I look at Milady like this, I can see how horribly narrow that outlook is. I still can't go along with this excitement of the crowd. But I feel like I can see something that cannot be seen on Rockenjima. I'm not sure if this is the unseeable thing Shannon was talking about, but the ocean still doesn't look blue to me. Wasn't the cultural festival at Jessica's school today? How is the principal doing? He seemed to be in good health. That's right, Diet member Takamiya was also there. He said to give you his regards. Busy as usual. It appeared so. That person is always very energetic. Oh, and I believe President Emoto also made an appearance. I would say, hey, can anyone guess what that I'm trying to reference? But no one's ever gonna fucking get that, so. It's a company that works on stuff for various visual novels, particularly for a 2017 game called Song of Memories, which I kind of feel is like an early version of VTubers. It starts off as a pseudo dating sim type game, but then descends into a pandemic horror game. Also has some notes of rhythm game options in it, but you can just change the difficulty of that at will, or even just disable it. It's still an interesting addition to it. I would recommend that even if you're absolutely terrible at rhythm games, just turn it to the lowest difficulty period. It's still content you'd want to... I feel it's important for the story. Naturally, the topic of Jessica's cultural festival came up at dinner. School events often become social gatherings for local volunteers. It was the same for the Ushiromiya family, who were celebrities around here. Natsui remembered the name of one VIP after another after the school social gathering till it crossed the news about them. Jessica didn't really have any interest in that discussion and really slurped her pumpkin soup. Milady, perhaps you ought to take more care with your manners. Yeah, sorry about that. Jessica, how many times must I tell you to watch your language? Yes, ma'am. Jessica answered, discouraged. When he saw that, Kraus smiled a little and paused his conversation on Sui. How was the festival for you, Jessica? Huh? Well, it was okay. I was watching. You did an excellent job. Huh? Huh? Well, Jessica's face turned bright red. She probably hadn't imagined that Mitsui would actually come to see her on stage. She felt a mix of happiness and embarrassment. Actually, she hadn't really wanted her mother to watch since she didn't want to be told that her music was inappropriate for the Ushiromiya family. But it certainly didn't make her unhappy to hear that her parents say she had gone... I keep accidentally hitting buttons. That is... Okay. Parents say she had done a good job after watching her try her best. Jessica acted with both composure and dignity. Fitting behavior for the student's representative. Oh, yeah. The smile that had been there until a second ago crumbled like sand. Jessica immediately realized that her mom was talking about something different. Jessica was also the school's student president. She had no interest in doing something so annoying, but her parents had been pushy, so she had grudgingly accepted. Unfortunately, she was popular at school, so she won the election easily. So Natsui was praising her for the student council's sponsorship ceremony at the beginning of the cultural festival. Actually, she had just carried out half-heartedly. After that, she immediately met up with her friends and held a stage rehearsal for the rest of the time. That experience of standing above people and bearing responsibility will surely prove useful in the future. I'm sure it will help Jessica mature as a member of the Ushiromiya family. But you rushed a little while giving the greeting. You get a pass on the content, but the fast pace of your speech lessened the impact. It might help you if you developed a habit of pausing every once in a while. Yeah. Well, that's depressing. After she finished eating, Jessica didn't feel like going straight to her room. Her room was basically the place her parents had ordered her to be. So perhaps for Jessica, instead of returning to her own room, being in an unknown location, this large mansion was a meager form of resistance. Jessica felt that even being in the mansion made it hard to breathe, so she went outside to the rose garden. Well, even if she did show up, I'm sure she would have said something about how it wasn't appropriate for a successor of the Ushiromiya family. So isn't it better this way? But you looked so happy when you thought that she had not only watched your performance, but actually, was proud of you for it. And then you looked really let down and disappointed when that turned out not to be the case. Jessica laughed at what she was sulking over. She laughed at what kind of words she could possibly have been expecting. That was dumb of me. In the end, I was just acting like an entitled brat. I'm a little exasperated with myself, and it makes me want to laugh. Milady? What, Canon-kun? Don't scare me like that, huh? Cough, cough. Dying noises. Luckily, Solid Snake is here to save her. Because, why am I imagining Canon sneaking around in a cardboard box and riding giant mechs? I don't know. Just as she was about to force a laugh, Canon suddenly started talking to her and she choked. What's up? Got something to say? Yes? Jessica's expression became the one that she always wore when looking at Canon. The listless Jessica from a second ago was gone. If he had still only known Jessica as the eventual successor to Ushiromiya family, as he had until yesterday, he might have mistakenly thought that Jessica's mood had sprung back to normal. But that wasn't right. He now knew a part of her that he couldn't have seen until yesterday. So he understood that there was no way Jessica actually felt the way she appeared. Oh, about today's cultural festival. Well, thanks for coming with me so I can show off. You saved my butt up there. That song, you were really good. What? Really? You're embarrassing me. Even though she had heard the words she wanted to hear, Jessica acted shyly and couldn't accept them openly. I cannot sing, and I don't know how to play any instruments other than the harmonica and the recording, which I learned in elementary school. So I simply assumed you were the same lady. At the time, Canon had never felt as though he had been looking down on Jessica in any way, but all the people he'd seen playing special instruments were on the other side of the broad tubes in the TV. At the very least, he had been under the impression that it'd be impossible for Jessica. I am furniture. So I didn't believe that there was any need to sing or play instruments, but I'm not sure anymore. Seriously, Canon, enough with that I am furniture business. That's like a proper attitude you servants are supposed to have, right? Servants are supposed to be like living furniture? Genji-san says it a lot. It isn't just a proper attitude, because we really are furniture. I know the kids from the Fukuin house receive assistance from grandfather in various ways, and I realize how grateful you are for that. But it's a bit cruel for you to have to call yourself furniture just because of that. We're all human, aren't we? The sound of depressed, low self-esteem. Canon-kun, when you saw me singing, what did you think? It looked like you were having a lot of fun. I don't think that's true. Huh? You didn't just think it looked fun. You were envious, weren't you? That's not... Canon probably hadn't noticed that emotion himself. Most likely, Canon saw something he had never seen before, learned about it for the first time, and felt envious. And to trick himself out of that emotion, he called himself furniture over and over. I know I'm successor to the Ushiromiya family or whatever. And, well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of annoying stuff to do from now on. And as far as that goes, I can't do anything but give up since I was born under an unlucky star. Probably just like you had to live at the Fukuen house. I don't have a choice either. I couldn't choose the stars under which I was born. That may be true, but there's one place where you and I are completely different. Know what that is? I am furniture and Milady is not. He was about to say that, but stopped. I do not know. Canon-kun, you decided that your fate determines everything about you, and you gave up. But I can't accept this kind of fate, so I do the best I can. So, while there's still the rigid and cornered me that's gotta stay as the daughter of the Ushiromiya family, I've created another me that can do what I like to the fullest. Another you? Yeah. Canon-kun, you've been instructed to say because I am furniture. I'm sure you've gone through a lot of tough times just because of that. I think that's really unfortunate. But the idea that your entire life will be decided by that alone just seems sad to me. You know, it's always possible for people to create another self inside them, a self that can truly grow to like. I'm not talking about escaping from reality, okay? When I'm that other self, I can really feel like I'm living a great life. So no matter how constrained and boring everyday life gets to be, I can always live on without suffocating. To make another self inside yourself that you can truly grow to like. To make another me, one that isn't furniture. Through a relationship with George Summer, has Shannon given birth to another self that isn't furniture? And did this other Shannon see something that cannot be seen by furniture? That's right. Well, I don't know anything about your private life, Canon-kun, but I can sort of guess. Your private life probably doesn't exist at all. Am I right? Canon couldn't reply, but that was answer enough. He had no concept of private life, so Canon was always be Canon. So furniture would always be furniture. Canon-kun, Canon isn't your real name, right? In the Fukuen house, the new graduates will be given new families and a new life, so they're also given a new name. In his case, that was Canon. Certainly, this name of mine may be a temporary thing. Before he had thought of himself as Canon and no one else. But he remembered. There definitely had been another self that wasn't Canon, but that was far, far away, beyond the distant fog of oblivion. So even for you, it should be okay to have times when you're Canon-kun and times when you aren't. Maybe when you act as a servant, the Canon-kun calls himself furniture and strictly limits his own will. But when you aren't Canon-kun, I think it's okay to live much, much more freely. Those words definitely weren't just lip service. Jessica had also been like this in the past. She had cursed her own birth into the environment different from all of her friends at the school. Only she had been in a heavily constricted environment, forced to learn all sorts of things, and she had even been told whom she was and wasn't allowed to play with. It may have been sad, but she'd given up resigning herself to the fact that she'd be born with that kind of star. But one day Jessica stopped giving up and surrendered. Stuff like Ushiromiya family customs and pressure didn't matter. She created a real Jessica inside herself, one who could do what she really wanted to do. You know, I can go by the nickname Jessie at school. Why does this make me think of the song Numb by Linkin Park? When I'm Jessie, I live life honestly and to the fullest. And because of that, I can do my best when I'm Jessica too. Would it really be so bad if you could just also have times when you're Canon and times when you're your real name? When you aren't Canon, can't you try becoming another self that you can like? A time when I am not Canon. He had once thought of his real name as being completely meaningless. Because of that, he'd thought that Canon summed up everything about him. And now Jessica was telling him to create something new, another self that wasn't Canon. Canon-kun, if you don't mind, Tell me, what's your real name? He was silent for quite some time. Maybe Cannon's real name had risen to the top of his tongue. After hesitating for a long time over whether he should say it, in the end, he swallowed it back down. I forgot. My name doesn't matter anymore. Those words contained a faint rejection. No matter what kind of real name I had, the only truth now is that I am Cannon. That past has nothing to do with anything. The materials of which furniture is made, be it a trunk of a tree or otherwise, are meaningless in the end. I told you to stop that. You aren't furniture, you're human, right? I am not human. Cannon clearly voiced his refusal. It was with a rage that he normally didn't show. Jessica couldn't say anything back and was struck silent. You are human, milady, so you are free to live any way you please. And any kind of future is possible for you. It's almost like you can have wings and can dance through the sky like a bird. But I am not like that. Even if I looked like a bird, I'd be nothing more than a domestic duck. Even though they have wings, they cannot fly. To speak to me of that dream in the sky despite that, it's just too cruel. Furniture and ducks. What the hell is all this? No. Jessica had unconsciously gone along with Cannon's forceful manner of speaking. But she realized that she shouldn't fire back and swallowed her words. I don't know anything about you. I don't even know your upbringing. And I don't know the hardships you've been through. So I can't even imagine why you started calling yourself furniture. But know this, you aren't furniture or a duck. You're a real human. If you want to say Cannon Coon's furniture when he's working as a servant, that's fine. But in that case, don't you think you can create a self for when you aren't furniture, for when you're human? Only a human like Milady can embrace that possibility. I am not like that. I have no future, no possibilities, no dream that I am allowed to see. So, milady, please don't say any more cruel things. Why? Why do you say stuff like that? Because it seems you mistakenly think I'm a human, the same as you, milady. We are different sorts of beings. I just wanted to make that clear. I heard from Shannon something about milady liking me. Huh? What? No. I look almost identical to a human. So, like Shannon, I could probably delude myself into think I'm human, pretend to love for a time. But then I would surely be fooling myself. No, I would be fooling you too, my lady. Shannon and George Summer would definitely fall apart. Even though Shannon herself probably realizes that day will come. She's taking part in such a stupid... There's nothing stupid about it. Sure, George Nissan's a wonderful person. He's got to match up to his parents' expectations. I'm sure when it comes to marriage. Aunt Ava will interfere in various ways. And I think their future prospects look like they'll be full of trouble, okay? But you know what? George Nissan isn't the kind of guy who will surrender that kind of shit. Shannon's no Juliet. He'll definitely bring her happiness. People cannot engage in romance with furniture. What I'm trying to say is that even if you can love furniture, I cannot love you, my lady. Those words of Cannon's crushed all of Jessica's bittersweet feelings that day. There was no way her emotions could have predicted that she'd be refused so bluntly. At an instant, she lost the willpower that had led her to try and unravel something stubborn in Cannon's heart. And before she knew it, she was just standing there in shock. My lady, if your feelings for me were due to my conceit, then I must ask that you forgive me. And no. basically, Cannon actually does care about her, but one, he's really walled off of his own feelings for various negative reasons he had. Basically, it's like, well, one, he's like, I have such bad depression that I can't probably have the actual emotions for you that you'd probably deserve from somebody. And two, yeah. And obviously, like what Ava said to Shanna, I'm sure he's thinking about that too, because obviously Krause and them would say that to him. Heck, I can also understand that bit myself. I don't know if it's just an issue of age or just things in my own personal life that have occurred. But I can also say that my emotions don't work the way they used to. I don't know if that's just that fact that I'm an elderly person of 38 years old, or I don't know, depression, PTSD, or just isolation. I don't know. I mean, I don't remember what a hug feels like, so I don't know if that has anything to do with that, so. Well, I won't deny that. Thank you very much. Huh? Thank you very much for thinking of me as a human. Those feelings alone really do make me happy. Anything more would be too cruel for me, so. No, I've said enough. Sorry about that. Jessica recklessly scratched at her head and spoke, trying to force her voice to sound bright. I just kinda ran on ahead by myself and was a burden on you. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for causing so much trouble on your precious day off. No. I was also happy that I could see you having fun. Then, let's call it a night. If I don't go back to my room and turn off the lights, Mom will get mad at me again. Ha ha ha. That's probably for the best. I wish you a good night, my lady. Yeah. Good night. Cannon saw Jessica trot away with her back to him, looking disheartened, but then she suddenly broke into a reckless dash and disappeared in the direction of the mansion. As he watched her back for just an instant, Cannon was tormented by the feeling that he had just made a huge mistake. But he hadn't made a mistake at all. He had been forced to refuse her for her sake, while the pain was still at its smallest. Nice going, making a woman cry like that. Cackle, cackle. I didn't expect you to refuse her that strongly. If you'd given a normal answer, another pair of lovers would have been born thanks to my magic. How long have you been there? What a horrible person. When he turned around, the witch was suddenly there. It looked like she had been there for the whole time, watching the two of them as though enjoying a play. I shall forgive you for your insults just this once, in deference to that amusing little show. Even after 1,000 years, no more interesting show exists than the complications between boys and girls. To me, it's a pleasure that's better and more addictive than opium. Out of curiosity, does Beatrice do opium? Has she? Or was she just using that purely as a, euphemism? Can magical beings have addictions? I know I've asked the question before, can a ghost have autism? Can a ghost have caffeine withdrawal? What if you were a ghost? You drink a bunch of Red Bull and Pepsi all the time when you were alive? Cannon pulled the butterfly brooch out of his pocket. It was the manifestation of the great magic the witch had bestowed. Without hesitation, Cannon slammed it against the ground and stomped on it. Oh? What is the meaning of this? You know that was given by me. Just now I figured it out. What you're doing isn't as tasteful as being Cupid of love. You're just a demon who enjoys showing love to those who can never be together, deceiving them. Humph? You are free to think that. Most humans I lend my power to say the same thing. Don't play dumb. You didn't lend Shannon your power because you felt sorry for her. You found a weak point in Shannon's heart as her chest burned with love, and you made her break the mirror that sealed you. What's more, you guessed how this would all end, and now you're toying with her. Am I wrong? Cackle. Furniture has a thoroughly pitiful existence. So you have no dreams, no future, and even no love. Good, good. There is nothing better than knowing your place. Cackle, cackle. You know, she didn't outright confirm it, but that, like, she didn't say yes, definitively, but the way she responded, I certainly take that as a yes. Which means, like, even the conversation she was having with Shannon seems a bit manipulative and predatory. If not out, like, would you guys call that narcissism? Emotionally abusive, is it? I don't know. Or in case, maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe she does legitimately want things to work out for people. Maybe she herself is a bit jaded. Doesn't excuse some of the bitchiness and the fickleness and the abuse of power, but, you know, as you notice, there was a faint love residing in Jessica's heart. You seem to think you've snipped it in the bud. But did you know? Trees grow thicker branches if you thin out and prune them. A girl who loves furniture, is it? Amusing. How truly amusing. Shannon and George will also eventually reach a stalemate with their unfulfillable love, ripening into a sort of large fruit I love. You mean despair? Regretfully, it seems to be going so smoothly for those two that it's hardly entertaining anymore. Okay, why am I imagining this song Vicarious by Tool right now? But on the plus side, it seems the two of you will amuse me to no end. Cackle, cackle. The witch laughed. Even though she had known the two could never be together, she had lent their magic to bring them together. However, they couldn't escape the fate that prevented them from ever being truly joined. The witch knew that. Even if they were joined, Shannon and George, Ken and Jessica would eventually break up. They would wander through an endless desert in a hell of love, tormented by an eternal thirst. What? Did you think I'd lend you my power and ask for nothing in exchange? I'll gladly assist a pair in love, and in exchange I'll enjoy watching the cruel fate they'll eventually meet. I have never come across a better show. Not over the course of 1,000 years. That does not seem very nice of you, Banchus. Just look at Kinzo. You know, it almost seemed like you were pitying him a bit. Now it seems like you were, like, getting off on his sadness. See how he ended up, an old pitiful man who learned the taste of love before being thrown out of paradise. Look at how he lives, like a dead man that cannot fully die. Cackle, cackle. You truly are a witch. Disappear. Get out of my sight, demon. Oh, I would disappear even without your prompting. My power still hasn't returned. It is still too tiring to continue showing myself. I overdid it when I gave you lovers my power. As I am now, it will not be easy to maintain that power without the brooch as a catalyst. Did we break the brooch?
Cannon ground his foot even more into the stomped brooch. He felt it break under his foot, then it evaporated like water, and changed into butterflies that sparkled gold, fluttering out from beneath Cannon's foot. Maintaining this form is quite painful for me as well. I will hide myself for a time, just as you desire. My magical power will rise as surely as the moon in the tides, and eventually a fitting time will come for my revival. I know not in the slightest whether that will be tomorrow, next year, or even 100 or 1,000 years in the future. But as long as there are those who entertain me, I will surely gain power and revive. I will disappear for a short while. Until that time comes, the bruise on the palm of your hand is already gone. So if you wish, tomorrow morning you can let my existence vanish like an illusion or a dream. After all, nothing saddens me more than being forgotten. However, I will surely be revived. Be on your guard so that you will not regret that day's coming when it arrives. I will surely have my second coming and rule over everything, as this island's true master. That is the time when the door to the Golden Land will be opened again. The greedy dead will surely wake me. You talk too much. Disappear now, Golden Witch. The witch became a cloud of gold butterflies, and scattered away, leaving behind a scornful laugh. The whole area sparkled like a gold blizzard in a snow globe. It was a fleeting, fantastical scene that disappeared in a heartbeat. The witch could no longer be seen. However, Cannon felt like he could still hear that shrill, unpleasant laugh. How amusing! How truly amusing! Why is the human world still so amusing after all the years I've been away? Go mad with blood, go mad with gold. Those who don't go mad from one of the two are not human. I see, so that's why the word furniture is so fitting. Furniture is created to serve humans, and I cruelly treat humans as playthings to sate my 1,000 years of boredom. What a truly amusing three-way Denmark, that I cannot control furniture. Kenzo, you fool, what a truly entertaining scheme you've worked out. Furniture, you fools, just you try and see if you can fell me. Tonight 2 seeds of love have been sown, including the one already sown that makes 3. Beatrice, why did you leave me alone in this painful world? I hate you. I will hate you for all eternity, for not even trying to answer despite being yearned for so. Master, drinking any more will be damaging to your health. Your liver is crying. Dr. Dodgy warned you as well, did he not? He said you can only have so many liver transplants, Kenzo. We can't find any more homeless people to steal the livers from. Be silent, Genji. You do not understand. We're cloning livers now. You do not understand my grief and sadness, and I believed at least you, my oldest friend, would understand my pain. Kenzo? He's not mocking you for being sad. He's saying, sir, your blood alcohol content is too high. It's a good thing there's nowhere to drive your car to. Heck, if you had a car here, it'd be like King Kai's car on his planet. I'm pretty sure your island is the size of King Kai's planet. Why can you not understand? I don't know, because he has a functioning liver? Beatrice, why did you leave me all alone? Sad noises. What the hell do you mean furniture? I don't get it. Oh, poor Jessica-sama. I think the best way to like, hey, Jessica. It's like, 1, the person's doing so to protect you. 2, the person's depression and sense of self is so badly damaged that, well, that's a complication. Even though the cries I hear coming from your room tell me the situation, there's nothing I can do. This is all tragedy due to a pair are too young and getting too close, when the positions of their birth are too distant. I can do nothing but understand the lady's feelings, hide my footsteps, and quietly walk away. I mean, yeah. I really don't know. There's... well, what? Do you mean by that, George-san? I mean what I said. I still haven't built up my castle. Once I manage to do that, I'll finally be able to think of myself as an adult. When that happens, I want to marry you. That's, But my heart won't let me do that anymore. So I want to give you an engagement. An engagement, you say? But I am furniture. Oh, right, that. Well then, furniture has to listen to what people say, right? Right now I'm having a ring made that'll be fitting for you. I think it'll be ready in time for you to bring it up upcoming family conference. I'll give it to you then, so please, I want you to let me hear your answer. If you accept, then I'll proclaim our engagement right there in front of all the relatives, including grandfather. To George-san, I'm sure some people won't approve our relationship, but there's no need to look at their faces, because you only have to fill your eyes with me. I will definitely bring you happiness.